Welcome to Hanley Swan NGS Gardens in the beautiful county of Worcestershire. For the last 5 years, gardens within the village have opened in support of the National Garden Scheme. This year, 6 were due to open on the 6th and 7th of June. My name is Brian Skees, Group Coordinator. Please join me on a video tour of these gardens. Chasewood, owned by Sydney Harrison. Sydney's passions are old-fashioned roses and collecting coach-built prams. The drive is flanked with roses, Madam Hardy and flower carpet, lavender and shrubs. Here's the rambler, the snow goose. The front bed has several new roses, Olivia Austin, Tess of Derbiles, Eyes for You, with the Acer as a backdrop. The side border has Grace. And by the front door is the outstanding Graham Thomas. Entering the rear garden, you pass a potted display of grasses and hostas. The patio is edged with step-over apple trees underplanted with herbs. The house is covered with pilgrim. The main feature in the lawn is the moongate, planted with roses, Malvern Hills, pilgrim and clematis. New dawn covers the pergola in this sitting area. Several new trees have been planted within the lawn. And the central rosebed with Sambucus black lace providing a backdrop. A gravel garden has been created with an iris and time walk. It is backed with a honeysuckle hedge. Sid's grandson has left his excavator ready for his next project. And at the end of the gravel garden is Rose, Great Maiden's Blush. And next, Hilary Fowler will now tell you about her garden.
Welcome to the garden of the Paddocks in Picken End. My garden was started from scratch when we moved in. There was nothing here at all, and that was 30 years ago. I'm fortunate to have a north-facing garden which allows me to enjoy heucheras and hostas and shade-loving plants surrounding what is the centre of my garden, which is my pond. This Clematis Viticelli, Etoile Violette, has come into its own in the last few days, one of the few clematis in flower after all this heat. This is one of my ponds that acts as the hub for the wildlife that come into my garden. I'm very fortunate to have many frogs, and as a consequence, this helps with my hostas as the slugs are eaten, and I enjoy the benefits of not having to use anything to keep my hostas looking great. This is my herbaceous border, looking down at the geranium philostomum. Blackbird sitting there, they've now started nesting again in the hedge. That's my snakeskin maple, smothered in a beautiful rambling rose. Lovely scent, but couldn't tell you the name. I display my succulents outside in the summer. This is my aeoniums, Schwarzkopf, very proud of this plant. And then on to the agaves, the striped one being Agave americana. We now enter the greenhouse, a small area set aside for seedlings, but the majority is given over to my cacti and succulent collection. Become quite an avid collector of both. That is Echeveria, Mexican giant, looking very beautiful. I have many aeoniums, mainly from offcuts, including Voodoo Velour, Schwarzkopf, and Blushing Beauty just peeping through. They're very easy to propagate and to cut off the tops to allow them to split and make some amazing shapes. That is a delightful aeonium called Cornish Pixie. Very small, but lots of flower heads. So I take the frog spawn from the pond and put it in a big bath, and I nurture the tadpoles through. Here you can see them eating fish food that I provide. And you can see on these ones that they've got their rear legs coming through. If we work further down the bath, you can see some of them are now developing their rear legs and trying to escape and get out of the bath. So really these froglets need putting in the pond as soon as possible, and then it's down to them to survive the vagaries of being caught by my fish.
Meadowbank is a modern interpretation of a cottage garden. The front garden is planted with drought-tolerant plants. Entering the main garden, there is a greenhouse planted with tomatoes. The patio has a large rainwater harvesting tank built underneath it. Leslie's French Iris collection. It is hard to believe that in February this garden was underwater. The beautiful Betula Jacquemontii dominates the centre of the garden. Dave grows dahlias to enter into the village show in August. All the glass features in the garden are made by Dave and Leslie. As you climb up to the viewing mount, you pass this blue feature, a Picasso-inspired face made from aluminium. The rose Gertrude Beetle running along the fence. The wonderful steeple Gigantea catching the sunlight. This nice pelargonium is Black Prince. Yew Tree Cottage, home to David and Margaret Reed, is a 17th century black and white cottage. They have lived here for 58 years. This tree is an early Persia prolific plum. And just around here is a lovely planting of wildflowers. Alongside a flowering honeysuckle. One of Margaret's favourite plants is the oriental poppy. The standard roses always look spectacular. David tells me he prunes them hard each year, adding, "You cannot kill a rose." The old well is used to water the garden, along with 8 water butts. Up these steps past Laxton Superb and Bramley Apple trees to the vegetable area. This path was crazy paving. David and his son used it for the edging, laying new gravel, which will be continued around the vegetable garden. An unusual plant is this kiwi fruit, caught by the frost, along with the vine that also grows on the fence. Dave is an enthusiastic and knowledgeable vegetable gardener, often writing pieces for the village magazine. A tayberry is trained along the fence, where you can enjoy views over the surrounding countryside. Developed since 2011, when their son gave them back the football pitch and a curved patio was built, 20 Winnington Gardens is the home of Pete and Tina Saunderson. The octagonal greenhouse is where Tina carries out her propagation and planting of many colourful annuals for beds and planters to provide year-round colour. The large fuchsia in this blue pot was Tina's uncle and is over 20 years old. Water features and several other decorative details have been constructed by Pete. These pelargoniums are very special to Tina. She was given them 8 years ago by a lady whose mother started propagating them over 60 years ago. There's agapanthus on the right in the pots. This new bed with the plough is dedicated to Tina's mother. This border contains a holly and camellia that was planted over 60 years ago by Pete's father. a garden full of memories. 19 Willington Gardens is our garden. Here, Irene family and volunteers would serve the cream teas. The patio faces north, so the wall is planted with shade lovers. On this wall is the rose Generous Gardener, named for the National Garden Scheme by David Austin. We have a raised herb bed with the standard red gooseberry enclosed by Rose Albertine. Raised vegetable beds planted with beans, sweet corn, tomatoes in hanging baskets, the sweet pea air warden, spring cabbage and ruby chard. Two weeks ago the Wisteria floribunda alba was glorious. Opposite is the white and green garden. White foxgloves, 4 young William and Catherine roses, with the wonderfully reliable rose iceberg on the rope swags. On the arch is the vine Spetchley red with the rose goldfinch. Being thornless, it is ideal for an arch. Through into the blue border, we have 4 standard roses. This is Bonica, with American Pillar just beginning to open in the background. Centre stage is the Acer Chrism, and then you have a standard rose Charlotte. This is Peony White Wings. On the fence is Clematis Madame Julia Coravon, intertwined with the wonderful scented rose Francis E. Lester, climbing into the apple tree. Along the woodland walk is the Siberian cherry, our mug tree. With the delicate Clematis fusca. The Bug Hotel was built for our NGS opening 2 years ago by our grandchildren. The wildflower fox and cubs is just starting to open. Returning back to the blue border, we have the standard rose Wisley, and on the rope swags a young new dawn and the clematis niobe. And also the rose May Queen on the foxgloves. On entering the Oriental Garden, you are greeted by the sound of water from the bamboo spout. Two cranes, symbols of good fortune in Japanese gardens. Paths are curved in Japanese gardens because the devil travels in straight lines. Asa Nagundo flamingo with its colourful leaves. Thank you for joining me in visiting our gardens. If you feel able to support the NGS and its nursing charities, please donate on the website mentioning the Hanley Swan Gardens. Thank you.